Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. And today's episode is Death Note Part 1, Episode 24, Revival. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened within this episode. So in this episode, we pick up right where we left off in the last episode, with Higuchi's car being made immovable and him being surrounded. And Soichiro decides to put on a helmet to cover his face, and with Mogi, who's in the car with him, agreeing to come with him, they go get Aizawa, who also has something to cover his face, and then they go to arrest Higuchi. When they arrest him, they immediately put a blindfold onto his eyes, which is later proven very ineffectual, as you will see. And basically, they put him to his knees, put a headset on him for the helicopter, and then L asks him how he kills, and he is willing to use any method at his disposal to make him talk, so he'd better talk. And Higuchi, being the coward that he is, decides to tell him that he uses the notebook to kill, and he just writes a name, and when he writes the name, poof, they're done. And so Soichiro goes into the car, finds a notebook in his briefcase, and then is like, this just looks like a normal notebook to me. And then he gets out of the car and he looks over, sees Rem, and immediately falls on his bum. Mogi comes over and is like, wow, Soichiro, are you okay? You just fell down. Maybe you're a little bit tired. And Soichiro's like, don't you see that monster? And he's like, I think you're definitely very tired. Picks up the notebook himself and has the exact same reaction and falls back on his bum. The notebook is then brought over to L, who stares at Rem in wonder, when Light, who's sitting there, decides to just grab the notebook from his hand and casually start cross-referencing the names in the notebook with the known victims. And L's still in the position of holding the notebook when he does this. But Light also kind of had a bit of a fit when he got the book because all of his memories came back. And then, like he just casually moves on from it with the cross-referencing. I forgot about his fit because it was very brief, but it was there. And then he remembers, basically flashing back to hiding the notebooks, how he switched ownership of the books so that Rem was the owner of his original book and Ryuk is the new owner of Misa's original book, so that they're now haunting the different notebooks. And that he buried the one that Misa owned and gave the Shinigami their marching orders, and also hid a piece of the note inside of his watch. So he has to pull the little knobby thing 4 times within like a second. Then it opens a little compartment that has a piece of the page in it. And then he pulls out the little knobby thing, pricks his finger to make it bleed, and then in his own blood writes Higuchi's name to maintain ownership of the notebook. After 40 seconds, Higuchi dies, and while he has his heart attack, the blindfold that they put on him just comes right off, and we can see his eyes staring up into space. So, like I said, very ineffectual blindfold. And Light is now the owner of the Death Note once again, and has his memories of Kira intact, and just can't stop smiling about it. Then we return to the task force, where everybody has had a chance to touch the book and is able now to see Rem. And that is when it is discovered that there are rules at the back of the book as well as the front. And in the back of the book, the rules basically state if you try to destroy this book, you who have touched the notebook and are able to see the Shinigami will die with it. So basically that prevents it from being destroyed, so Light doesn't have to worry about losing his memories again. And then the second new rule that is on the back of the book is that you have to kill every 13 days, as if you don't, you yourself will die. And this, of course, completely clears L and Misa of all suspicion, but Light magnanimously agrees to stay onto the task force and continue to hunt Kira with L just without the handcuffs, binding him down. And Misa is allowed to go home. As they say goodbye in the lobby, Light makes sure their lips can't be read through the camera and basically tells Misa to go to the woods and dig up the note, like her notebook. So she does that. When she gets there, she digs up the notebook. She gains all, wow, can I speak today? She regains all of her memories of being the second Kira, reads a letter from Light, which basically tells her to write down Elle's name because she did see it before she was kidnapped. And then to keep a couple pages of the notebook with her, but then to bury the rest of it back in the ground where she found it. And she unfortunately despairs because she does not, in fact, remember Elle's name because she saw thousands of names every day and he didn't stand out to her. So it just slipped her mind. And as a result of that, she can't see him. But luckily, Ryuk shows up just then and she basically asks him to make the eye deal with her because she can't remember Elle's name, so she wants to be able to help Light. And she then gives him an apple that Light told her to bring him. Ryuk gives a Shinigami Realm apple to Misa to show her what it looks like there and why he likes Earth's apples so much. And she takes a bite of that and says it tastes like sand. And then, of course, they go back to the headquarters. Light greets her there. She confesses that she doesn't remember Elle's name, but she has redone the eye deal, touches Light with a piece of the notebook that she had taken out, like one of the pages, and she that allows him to be able to see Ryuk again, and that is when they start to make plans, and Rem, from where she's watching the monitors, is able to see that Misa's lifespan has halved again, showing that she's made the ideal again. And that is where we leave this episode. So now we come to the part of the episode where we rank the episode on our two lists, our mostly objective ranking list first, followed by the personal ranking list. So, starting with our mostly objective rank values, we have our single arc main character development, which of course is that Elle learns the existence of Shinigami and is able to now see Rem. Our multi-arc supporting character development, where the rest of the task force learns the existence of Shinigami and is now able to see Rem. And those two are worth 2 points and 3 points respectively. We then add an additional 3 points because Misa has been able to regain her memories after digging up her note and performs the eye deal with Ryuk. Then we have our 4 points for Light, recovering his memories while touching the notebook and then claiming it once again by killing Higuchi via a piece of paper hidden in his watch. And then, worth another 4 points, we have some world building, which, side note, honorable mention, Ryuk brings us a Shinigami Realm apple, which looks very different from our apples and apparently tastes like sand. And then the actual one that's worth the points is the fact that we learn that fake rules were able to be added to the notebook, and these fake rules were placed in there by Ryuk on Light's orders in order to basically win the fight against Elle by completely clearing his name and giving him back the freedom to move in the ways that he wants to so that he can destroy Elle. And he does have a thought in this episode about how Elle has lost and his punishment for going against the god of the new world is death. So things are getting fun. And that, of course, brings us to 16 points, and as 10 is the maximum score, that does in fact mean that this is a 10 out of 10 episode. And that now brings us to our Part 1 ranking so far on our mostly objective ranking. And in first place, we have Rebirth. Confrontation, Doubt, Wager, Decision, Execution, and Ally, which were all 10 out of 10 episodes. Reminder that on our mostly objective ranking, when episodes have the same score, they're ranked in episode order, which puts Revival in 8th place. Then it's Encounter, Confessions, Tactics, Friend, Pursuit, Glare, Friendship, Unraveling, Love, Makeshift, Dealings, Assault, Matsuda, Performance, Guidance, and in 24th is Overcast. On to the personal rankings. So, you may notice that the energy in this video is a little bit different than it's been, and that's because I love this episode, and I feel like we're getting back to like the parts where things are actually happening again, and I'm very excited about it. You know, plans are falling into place, coming to fruition. I feel like the last few episodes before this one were more, talky, thinky, not actually doing anything or moving the plot along in like an exciting way, more like in a we need to get through the sludge before we can actually like run on ground again. Anywho, few points I'd like to make that didn't really fit into the mostly objective ranking list or chart, I should say. I love that L is sitting in the helicopter that he's piloting, that once he's landed it, and is just casually drinking tea with a teapot and a teacup in this helicopter. I thought that was great. I did think it was a little bit extra of Light to be like full on screaming when he was getting his memories back. I feel like he could have been more subtle about that because, you know, I don't think Elle can not be suspicious when his reaction was so far overboard everybody else's. Though, to be fair, Surichiro and Mogi fell on their bums. So, I mean, a strong reaction is necessary, but like Elle, when he saw Rem, was just a widening of the eyes and, staring in wonder. And I feel like Light really should have followed that kind of path because he does have more in common with Elle than the other two. I also like Light better as Kira. I said it when he lost his memories. I was like, wow, the difference in the personality, and I'm not sure I like it as much. And I have now confirmed. I don't like him as not Kira as much. He's much more fun as Kira, although I do think that he does have to control his facial expressions a bit better because wow, was he smiling at like all the wrong times when he was Kira. I feel like if you want to get away with it, if you don't want to be suspicious, if you don't want people to know that you're Kira, you probably shouldn't have like this wide manic grin on your face when Higuchi is dying, and then when the fake rules are being read out, and then when you're getting free, and then when you're greeting and saying goodbye to Misa. And that could have just been in there for audience effect, but I don't know, such an outward expression of glee and ego and patting your own back. I feel like that is just going to give you away. But all in all, I did find that it was a very fun episode. It's one that I've been waiting for. I love that he's now Kira again. I love that we're getting close to the finale. I do not like the finale of part one because, well, obvious reasons, but I do love the lead up to it, and this episode is the best so far. Genuinely the best so far, in my opinion. And that is why I gave it a 10 out of 10 as well, matching the objective in this case. And that brings our part one ranking so far to in first, Revival, then Rebirth, Encounter. What is that? Frenzy. Oh my gosh. Couldn't read it for a moment. Glare, Execution, Confessions, Doubt, Pursuit, Ally, Decision, Confrontation, Tactics, Guidance, Dealings, Makeshift, Friend, Love, Overcast, Wager, Performance, Unraveling, Assault, and so far in last place for me is Matsuda. And spoiler, I don't see that changing. And that brings us now to our final segment, which is of course our series ranking so far. And for our mostly objective ranking, part one so far has 172 out of a possible 260 points. And the personal ranking currently has 145 out of 260. Or is that a 3? No, it's definitely a 5. The font can be hard to read sometimes. Anyways, with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Death Note Part 1, Episode 24, Revival. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.